What is up, winning team? I've just had a rather interesting conversation, and it's one of those conversations where this is why I really feel like the Lord be just delivering opportunities, because I'm gonna film anyways when I get back, and I was gonna film now because I have to go and do something. And as I was preparing for all of this, end up having a conversation with somebody, right? And this somebody is somebody I don't speak to all the time, but somebody that knows me who I actually like. And I don't know how this topic came up, because we were actually talking about something completely different. But I guess it was one of those, when like somebody feels comfortable enough to ask you something that they've always wanted to ask type situations. And so they're like, can I ask you something that's like maybe a bit sensitive or whatever? And I was like, go ahead. And then they asked me this question. Guys, it's about to get dark. Okay, it's about to get really dark, this whole discussion. They said, how many times have you been R-worded, right? And immediately I was like, well, this is unexpected. I've never actually thought about that. Why would I? And just this whole discussion and how it all went just told me a lot, because I was like, that's a really good question, but I don't think you're going to like the answer. And they were like, okay, just tell me what the answer is. And I said, the truth is, I don't know. They were like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, well, what do you define as that in the first place? Which they were like, should be pretty straightforward. And I was like, you would think, because in the moment they said that, I had the flash in my head of like every single time you've had people be like asking you, but what did you do? And how did you this? And what did you that? The scrutiny. So I don't really actually, I'll be honest, this is going to sound so dark. Oh my gosh, they're fishing. I see people fishing in this pond, yeah. I'm so curious. Oh, it's a dad and his son. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm curious if anybody ever gets anything out of here. Man, Mr. Kethlon. We used to have a fishing section as well. We used to have every sport. And now we have Wingstop. We used to have my favorite department, fitness. We used to have camping, hiking, running, swimming, snowboarding, everything in there, guys. Skateboarding, cycle, like literally everything. And now Decathlon is gone. Well, what have we got now, Wingstop? Anyway, so, and if you guys want to know, don't remember, that was the video I was telling you about, my favorite job that I ever have. Goodness, if I could have just stayed there and never gone to do my degree. Oh my gosh, because I could have. I was working there. They even had another position, like a managerial position coming up. And anyways, you can transfer around the world to all their different locations. What do you mean? So I could have done that, and I should have. That's one of my regrets. But anyway, well, I don't regret it, because, everything happened how it was supposed to, with the Lord and all that. But anyway, so they were asking me this, and I was thinking, no one's ever actually asked me that. I've been asked a bunch of times how many people I've slept with. That's what matters. But anyway, so then I started counting, right? And obviously I could only remember how many people, not how many times. And then as I was trying to explain that to them, like, but how many times, like a ballpark, do you think it was, like just actual number of times? And so then I gave an answer. As the conversation was progressing, it just kept being like another person added, and then another person added, and then another person added, based on the definition I was given, which was anytime somebody did something sexual to you that you did not consent to, and or times when they tried something and you told them to stop. Dark, and the darkness of it is when actually saying it now to somebody and then being so horrified at me telling them things that I'm like, well, I don't think that's that bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's that bad. Is it? Does it count? I'll give you guys one of the stories that I told them, where I'm like, I don't think this counts. Or does it? Because I feel like I've experienced the full scale, you know? Actually, I don't know if I want to tell the story. I'll tell the story. So, as I've said to you guys, this is what I'm saying. The world is a dark, dark place, because I shouldn't be. Actually, I should be. I've been realizing, that this whole sexualization of children thing is so prevalent, because the more I look into so many things, like even today, I was looking into Liam Payne, you know, the one who died from One Direction. His story is really sad. Because basically what happened, I fully get where he was. Like, honestly, I never felt so seen in a story, to be honest. And it was kind of hard to listen to, because basically he had started out at like age 6. He knew he wanted to sing, and then by I think it was age 9, he was in like a singing what do you call it, like a singing school. And he was the one with the most experience, like professional experience, of all the boys who ended up being in One Direction. So he ended up always being the one to kind of help them with that. You know, he auditioned for X Factor at 14. Simon Cowell says, come back in 2 years. So the boys got together at 16. Now, there's this little cheeky thing that, you know, where he winked at Cheryl Cole and whatnot and what have you. They did then end up in a relationship, right? Which is sketchy, because this is what I'm saying. It's not only the older men going for the younger girls. It's the older women as well. Because I've heard stories. I've seen stuff, especially in my line of work. I've seen some female teachers where I'm like, don't know about that, mate. Because I keep very strong boundaries, like I've said, in my job. Always have, you know, like with kids, because they're kids, hello. Anyway, and then after that relationship, which again, he's exploited by the X Factor, because basically what had happened is every time they would get on stage, this is the bit where I relate to a lot. They would get out on stage and they would do all these performances when they like finally, you know, were making music. But then when they were off stage, they would get locked in their rooms in the hotel. So this is why he had a fear of being locked in a room, where he developed that trauma, right? Which I feel like just goes to show, and is just a little window into what these people actually had to go through. And did I invite the Holy Spirit? Holy Spirit, please be with us. And there were all these little traumas, right? Not to mention being put in very adult situations, because I've thought about this as well. Like how, you know, I'd be uncomfortable to have my own child in dance or cheerleading or gymnastics. Not for it. Unless I'm there 24/7. And even still, the outfits these little girls are in, why? You know? Even this whole thing in the Olympics, how Pink was the one who paid the fines for all the girls, I think it was in volleyball, so they could wear shorts. The shorts are still short and they're still tight. Because why did they have to wear they're like bikini bottom looking things instead? Like, what is this about and who is this for actually? This is what I'd be asking myself. Like, what is this about and who is this actually for? All of these things. So there's a lot of abuse and sexualization that goes down. And it's almost even more apparent, when you're looking at or exploitation, let's put it like that. Exploitation that goes down when you're looking at people in certain industries, you know? Because obviously it's completely normal for the teenage girls of us, you know, at the time. I was never really into anyone in One Direction, although I did love me a bit of Zayn Malik, I will say that. And I was annoyed that he ended up in a group because I thought he'd make a better soloist. And he did make a better soloist, I decided to say. But it's all well and good and normal, like for us in our age category to be interested. I'm going somewhere with this because it's going to link back into my story I just gave. But it's weird when it's the adults doing it. You know what I mean? We can be like, 15, 14, like, looking at them and like loving them and whatever. But it's another thing, because my thing with the Cheryl Cole was like, Cheryl Cole, what were you doing? What were you doing? It's a little bit creepy, because at what point, because the thing is about, it's one thing if you meet somebody, say, when they're a lot older and you never knew them when they were younger, and it's another thing when you knew them when they were younger, and it's like, were you just waiting? Because that brings me to my story, which I'm going to come back to after this. Actually, we'll go on to that story now. So what happened to me one time, and this is one of those stories where I'm like, I don't know if I can class myself as a victim in this, because I was the idiot. So when I turned 18, I told you, it was very weird. There was one guy who I knew him from school. He was in sixth form when I was in year 7, which means I was 10, 11. He was 17, 18. Okay. And he always used to tease me about this guy who I used to like in year 7, because everybody knew I used to like this guy. That was the last time I let everybody know the name of the person I like. And it's so funny because I can't keep these things in, as we know. So he used to tease me about it, and I thought he was just doing it like an older brotherly way. Well. Fast forward. So I've turned 18, and he's gone to university to study aerospace engineering. Yeah? A really good university, mind you. And I was really like looking up to him, if you like. I had a similar situation with another guy who went to med school, by the way. He's also like a somewhat known artist, but we won't even get into that. But anyway, and so he comes back here. This is like before I left to London, but I'm 18 now. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm around at the moment. We should meet up. Me being the idiot, yeah, sure, let's go meet up. So I went to his flat at 8 a.m. Okay? In fact, where I'm walking, it's actually not that far from where it was. And so I get there, and I'm just there just sitting and just talking and just catching up. And again, he's still asking me like, and now that I look back, the way he was obsessing over my dating life is a bit weird. Like, I can only see it now as an adult. As a kid, it just made me feel embarrassed. I was like, why are you asking me about this? And it also kind of made me laugh a little bit. But now I'm like, this is like what I mean when I say about adults being so invested in like kids' sexualities, kids' relationships, even the church. What are you thinking? Have you been having lustful thoughts? Why are you dressing provocatively? My friend, it's the summer. I'm wearing a vest top and shorts and trainers like everybody does in summer because it's hot, mate. Not because I'm trying to cause somebody to stumble. But anyway, so I go to his house, at 8 a.m, mind you. And we're just sitting talking, catching up, not thinking anything of it. Next thing you know, this guy stood up and said to me, you've always been the woman I wanted. It's always been you. You've always been my... I was like, what? I was in such a state of shock. I completely blacked out. I can't remember a thing. It wasn't until later when I was washing the blood off my hands, I even knew he was dead. That's from, what's it called? Cell Block Tango. Oh, I love Cell Block Tango. It's moments like these that get me into Cell Block Tango, So I took the shotgun off the wall and I fired 2 warning shots into his head. And then he ran into my knife. 10 times. Oh my gosh. Love it. He had it coming. I love Cell Block Tango, you guys. Like, Cell Block Tango my favorite musical theatre performance, and the girls are just all dancing, pop, six, squish. Oh my gosh, on the freaking prison things. Oh, I would be smiling in prison if I was them as well. Anyway, and it's situations like this, you know what I'm saying, that gets you there. Situations like this. So anyways, he just starts saying all this. And then he forces himself on to just now to try, oh my gosh, where's English? Hold on a minute, 1 second. Let me just get into a better lighting position. Yes, anyways, and then, yeah, this guy, he literally gets on top of me and starts trying to kiss me now. Now, I think in his head, he's thinking, because this is what I think a lot of people think, like, of course, this is what you want and this is what you wanted, yeah? But in this scenario, this is what I'm saying. I don't feel like I can go anywhere because nowhere's safe and I'm always making the wrong decision somehow. And I'm always still wrong. And I always should have known. But I was literally barely legal. I just turned 18, hadn't even moved out. I'd never even, like... Anywho, so I was in such shock, yeah? So he starts forcing himself onto me and I was trying to force him off, right? And it was, oh my gosh, I did not like that. That was not, listen, the feeling of trying to force a man off your body is terrifying because you know you cannot win and you just have to hope there is a window of opportunity or you're finished, yeah? So, and this is what I think some men don't seem to understand, the ones who don't do stuff like this. It's like, you don't understand, you guys are a danger. You will always be stronger than us. You will always stronger than us. You will always be, no matter what. So like you got to understand why some of us have our boundaries and are a bit standoffish and are, you know, because it's like, well, back up, buddy. Stay 6 feet away because I gotta, if something happens, God forbid something happens anyways, I'm going to be to blame somehow. And so, because that's what people are going to say, oh, you should have known. Well, why would I think that? He was like an older brother figure to me. Anybody ever told me anything about that, right? So I just went to see him. It was like in the morning as well. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, next thing you know, he's picking me up, he's taking me to his bedroom, and then the thing got worse after that. He was still forcing all these kisses onto me, trying to do this, trying to do that. Guys, fought for my life, kicked myself out of the situation eventually, and ran out the door, and I did not say anything. I went home just as normal. The thing is, yeah, I've recently realized that I don't really be telling, I never told anybody stuff growing up because I don't believe there was anybody safe to tell. And as an adult, I agree that there wasn't anybody safe to tell. Without me actually feeling like, this is why I actually can understand where a lot of people in the world, like I'm sure many of you guys have experienced stuff like this. I understand why people don't come forward, even though people say you should speak up, you should say something. It's like, yeah, but this is going to create a whole havoc now. Because now, if somebody else that I care about does try to do something, what if they end up in prison? I don't want to see like my loved one that I know go to prison because this happened to me. I don't want to have to be a part of a huge police investigation. I don't want to have to sit in court, like, you know, like with this guy over the next 4 years going through this. I don't want them to be, you know, analyzing like what I was wearing. This was traumatic. So I just kept most of this stuff to myself. You know, because the hassle, what people thought was like so worth it, it just really isn't. And that's the dark truth, because I've been thinking about this for others, right? This is what was making me think about Liam as well, in the sense that I don't know what happened with him. I feel like he got into an industry very young and was trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And when everything hit, you know, as I was learning more and more about what happened, you know, he had got a lot of bad press. So that tells me, because eventually he obviously becomes an addict. Or I don't know if he was an addict, but he decides to go to rehab. I do need a new notebook, actually. That's not what we're here for. Let's stay focused, she says while she's still standing here. They've got this Lego stationery, and it's just, I need new stationery, bro. I need new, are those highlighters? Because I need new highlighters. Okay, this is not what we're here for. So he ends up in rehab, and again, and then people become addicts and people become all these things. People are like, oh, you should come off of this. Oh, you should get your life together. Oh, you should this. It's like people are suffering. People are suffering. You see somebody that's overweight. Maybe, do you know why? Maybe they're suffering. You see somebody that's, you know, a drug addict. Maybe they're suffering. Why don't we get that? Why is that not the most basic thing we understand? And so you know, it just hurts my heart more than anything that I can't do more for people when I discover like certain things about them. So anyways, he goes to rehab, and I reckon, yeah, this is my theory. When he did, he probably spoke about all these things that were happening to him. And this is why he kept getting cancelled, because he kept getting cancelled by everyone. Like, he was the most hated one after they went solo. People weren't liking his music. And I feel like this is an episode of Hollywood where, you know how in Hollywood, I always tell you cancelled crazy coffin. Like, if you go against what they're doing or you try to leave or whatever, you got the 3 warnings of the devil: cancelled, crazy, or coffin, right? So one could argue he was entering the crazy stage in terms of the drug use because it was getting pretty bad. But I feel like he started to actually get the help he actually needed. And in doing so meant that he was talking about, hold on a minute. So I'm trying to select a card in the card section, and it's just, it just always makes me laugh. It just always does. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. But anywho, so I have a feeling, yeah, what happened is he tried to get the help he needed. He spoke up about it, and it didn't go well. And maybe the people at the rehab center he went to tried to actually help him or whatever. And then obviously they were like, oh, hell no, we're not starting no investigations. So I reckon that's probably what happened. And then that's what started the cycle of the back and forth thing of the drugs with him also. You know what? We'll come back to this. I'm feeling overstimulated. It's just too many options, mate. We'll circle back. We'll let my brain do the thinking. By the way, did you know that? This is a tip I always teach the kids. Like, if you actually look at something, your subconscious mind will actually work on your behalf. That's why I always tell them to read the entire paper before they do any questions. Yeah. It's hard to find when you don't find something when you don't know what you're looking for. That's another word. But yeah, anyway, why'd I have to be at the front of the store? Okay, let's go with the easier items first, and then we'll circle back. But yeah, so I reckon that's what happened. Because as I was listening to this, I was thinking, this is what happens when you actually need and the reality of the world we're living in. Because bro went to rehab, tried to get the help, probably tried to take steps to, recover from all the things that happened to him and all of that. And in doing so, probably rocked the boat, upset Hollywood, and they obviously start shunning him, which is obviously making everything worse because now he can't even at least do what he loves anymore after everything that they've all been through. And here we are. Next thing you know, he was just literally ordering like 4 bottles of whiskey a night and all these drugs to his hotel and destroying the place. And like, again, people would be like, oh, why is he behaving like this? It's unreasonable. He needs to get help. It's like, but bro is suffering. This is what I'm saying. We just live in this world that like people just don't seem to get it. Like, people are suffering out there. You know what I mean? And this is how they're coping. I don't know what I would be like if I didn't have the Lord. So circling back, because I was telling, the person I was telling, because in the end anyways, it looks like because he got locked in the hotel room, because basically that's what the hotel did. By protocol, they're supposed to like call the hospital, call whatever, which I think is a waste of time. I think calling anybody is a waste of time. Any government, anyone. Because everybody wants to tell you to get help, but no one actually wants to give you the help you actually need. And that's the thing I've learned in life. And that's what I've seen across the board. I mean, look at poor Britney Spears. God bless her. Everybody was like, oh, she has all this money, she's off the rails, we need to put her on a conservatorship, and the whole jury of flipping sheeple was behind it, because I remember as a kid seeing this all happening and everybody making her seem like she was just off the rails. And it's like, yeah, now we know people are not just off the rails for nothing. So I'm saying, guys, I say this all the time, nothing comes from nowhere. Like, do you think anybody wants to ruin their life? Look at this, and here I'm seeing Harry Styles on the poster. Of course he is. Doing everything that Hollywood asks, wearing his dress and all sorts. Look at this. Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. So when you go along with the system, Those are the ones who are living life. Those are the ones who are living life. And the ones who don't, or the ones who try to, speak up, or the ones who don't just take it because it's worth it, just say, oh, you know what, I'll endure this as long as I get the job. Like a lot of the people who went to Epstein Island who were like, well, as long as they're willing to put up with anything and turn a blind eye and go through whatever, as long as they get their modeling job or their opportunity in Hollywood or connected with whoever. Like, this is what I'm saying. The world is a dark place. So that made me sad. He ended up dying because he flipped over the balcony, because basically he'd been locked in, and he told them whatever happens, he doesn't want anybody to lock him in. Yeah. And they locked him in his hotel room by himself after they just had to bring him upstairs from downstairs because he passed out. Yeah. And locked him in the hotel room. And he fell over the balcony. And then the world goes, oh, we're so sad to lose Liam. We're so sad. No, you're freaking not, you people. No, you're freaking not. Because I was even saying to this person, I was like, oh, why did you not tell anyone? You should have told someone. I'm like, trust me, there's no way. If something happened to me now, guys, I'm not telling anyone. I'm not telling a soul. Not a single soul. You'll never know. I'll do exactly like I did that day. And every other time. I will dust myself off and I'll go back to spend the rest of my day as if it never happened. And not tell anybody. Because why would I invite all of that into my life knowing the world I'm living in? Why would I do that to myself? So that's how that went. So I was it was just a bit dark to think about. Let's just put it like that. And it was just kind of crazy that I was asked that question just as I was already about to make this video about Liam, and videos about a lot of things. Actually, I wasn't actually specifically going to talk about the story I just told you guys, but I figured I may as well mention it now, because low key, because this is the reality. Like, I've been looking into it. Even Gideon, I mentioned that, he's out here trying to do the work the police isn't doing. The prosecution saying, oh no, we don't prosecute these types of cases anymore, when he's catching predators with evidence, the thing everybody's begging for. They're like, oh no, sorry, we don't do that. We don't do these types of cases anymore. I'm talking to a literal guy, a police detective, yeah, he's telling me himself, who's worked on cases in this country, yeah, it'll take 4 years. Anytime somebody tells me about something like this, I just put them through for a restraining order, because the chances are nothing's going to happen. And he just said it. And he moved departments. He moved to a different department because, it's really sad. Okay, this is one of the things I need to get. Hold on. Okay, I'm such a productive queen. Now all I need to do is circle back to get the card. But yeah, what's the point? What is the point, guys? What's the point? It's not going to go anywhere. Look where we are now. There's so many people in prison, people getting arrested all the time. I've seen the police around all the time these days. But guess what? Were the predators there? No. Body of Christ. Yeah, I've seen people kicked out of church for disagreeing with certain things and whatever. And I've seen literal predators in church, myself, in churches I've been in, get everything they did swept under the carpet for the sake of making somebody else in the room not feel uncomfortable, or the rest of the congregation. This is why I've had enough. And to hear Liam's story is so sad, because I watched him, the last time I seen him do anything, hold on, it has been a long time since I've bought flowers for anyone. It's not even me buying them. I'm doing somebody a favor. Those are cute though. Those are actually cute. Hold on, I'll show you. It is over-consuming. The little paper chicks. Look at that. They're so cute. But what use do we have for that in retrospect? In reality. Anyway, we're gonna have to get a card. But yeah, you guys. Anyway, you get the idea of what I'm saying. This is the reality we're living in. I don't know what reality everybody else is living in, but I feel like they're living in the reality where they just ignore all this stuff. And it's like, some people don't get to ignore it. You know what I mean? Some people don't get to ignore it. And you know what? I had a friend once, and she told me she'd never been through anything like any of this. And now that I think about it as I'm making this video, I think that's why our relationship was doomed from the beginning, because she just could never understand why I was just always so many of my personality traits, like not being trusting, being quite independent, like not just wanting to just casually be anywhere around anyone, things like that. Finally found it, finally found it, finally found it. Okay. I think this is going to work. I think this is going to work. Guys, sometimes when you're trying to buy a card and it's not like a birthday or something, why is it so hard to find what you're looking for? But anyways, okay, good. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. I think this has to be it. Almost every time, the first card that I think, oh yeah, it's always that one. Yeah, we got it. Yay. All right. Oh, done it. I've only gone and done it. She's only gone and freaking done it, hasn't she? She's only gone and done it. Please tell me. Okay, my bag hasn't fallen out of my pocket. Anyway, I'll wrap this up because otherwise I could just start another video after I leave, in all retrospect, in all honesty. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. Like, having that conversation and that being like the first time somebody's actually asked me that, and not in like an argumentative way, not in a way to like judge me, not in a way to like try and find a loophole as to why this was all my fault, and somebody actually acknowledge, like tell me, because I still don't, as you can see, really feel like I was really completely a victim because I was the one who went there. So it's like, where do we draw the line? And these are the things I don't want to have to. It's so odd. What do I say if I go to court for something like that? Yeah, that's cute. What am I going to say there at court? Do I even have a case? I don't know where to draw the line. Now, this is one of the ones I would put it, like if the scale of the worst to the least worst, and was like 1 to 2, like the least worst was 1 and the worst was 10. I would put this, of all of the experiences, at like a 2. Yeah, I'd put it at 2. So I'm like, do the ones 5 and above are the ones the only ones that count? But then it depends who you're asking, and it depends on the situation. It also depends on where you're going and who's the judges and who's the this and who you're asking what they think of you and what they think of this. Because now I'm thinking even now as I'm saying this, I'm like, what was I wearing that day actually? And again, I normally dress pretty casually. So yeah, that's why I just hate it here, honestly. I hate it here. I really do. That's just something I needed to tell you guys. Those wellies are so cute. I love me a Wellington boot. Oh, those wellies are cute. We're not here for clothing. They've got a few nice clothes in here that I can't lie. Anyway, I've said all I need to say. But yeah, so that's what happened anyways. And I'm grateful, actually. The times when I actually get to speak with people, like unsolicited, just like out of nowhere, and it's always like the most least suspected people, like when I was talking to the police last year, and I'm like, it actually does help me. Like, that's the funny thing, like it actually does help, because like after that conversation I feel less guilty about my decisions in life, because you guys know that's all I think about. It's all I've been thinking about this week, is the guilt I feel all the decisions I've made and how I'm paying all the consequences for all of them. My default position, because of all of the stuff I'm telling you now, is that anything that happens to me that's bad, I just take 100% of the blame on, because trying to figure out if I really was, or to what degree I was or wasn't, is just too exhausting. Too much time, too much effort, too many conversations, too many relivings of things that happened. So the best I can do is just say, look, it was me, it was my fault. I did this to myself. I didn't have to be in there. So that's why right now I don't have to be anywhere. I don't need to be anywhere. I don't need to be around anyone. And then guess what? I can't be guilty of anything. That's how I feel. And people, you might think, oh, there's not a way to live. But it's also not a way to live. Having to like add to your list of all the hundreds of things you need to do already, like as an adult or as whatever, going through all these processes, or having people looking disappointed that you ruined a vibe or a place, like at church or whatever, by speaking up about something that shouldn't have happened. And there's the kicker of it, and this is why I know that it's true, that the world does not operate and the church in a godly way, because I know that God would care more for us dealing with these things than a lot of the other things that we're all dealing with. I really do think that, because he came to like help the people. He says the brokenhearted, you know. He came to save the sick, like the people in need, not the people who feel like they've got it all together. The people who are okay. He came for those, like, if you're okay, that's fine. That's why even Jesus, actually, the Pharisees, like, they're all trying to talk to him. He's like, bruh, am I even coming to you? Stay over there, you're good, yeah? You all right, yeah? How's your mum? She good, yeah? I love that song. Oh, the Hot Wheels wheelies. Oh my gosh, the Hot Wheels wellies are so cute. So look at these. Oh my gosh, look at these Hot Wheels wellies. Oh, they're so cute. I got the Spider-Man ones. Oh, I like these ones as well. I love a welly. I never have reasons to wear them, which is unfortunate. Oh, these are so cute. Oh, look at these. These are like little mouses. Are they mice? Oh, they're so cute. Yeah, this is why, you guys. This is why. I just don't think the Lord. I think the Lord. Yeah, I've been realizing yesterday. I was thinking, I think God's probably quite angry at the moment. Like, actually angry, because I feel like I'm not on his bad side. Maybe that's why I haven't been feeling it. But low key, I think he's probably quite angry right now. Anyway, on that note, you guys, I'm going to skedaddle. Oh, I love these little ramekins. I don't like the colour scheme though. Anyway, see, I get distracted. All the nice things. So yeah, you guys, anyway, I hope you can hear where I'm coming from. I hope you can hear me out. I really feel like I spend every day coming on here talking like I'm on the defense, and I feel like I've just always been on the defense. I don't know how to not be on the defense. I've always had to be. I just don't know how not to anymore. I honestly don't, because that's just the realities. So anyways, you guys, I'm actually going to go now. If life's the game, let's play to win. Stay tuned, because I've got a few interesting ones coming up. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.